All right, y'all. So during beaver season, I had a lot of questions. A lot of people wanted a more in-depth video on my exact setup that I'm running for my beavers. So I figured now that it's the off season and it's too hot for me to want to be outside, I'd make one for you. So I make all my drowners out of 1/2 inch rebar. They vary from 8 to 10 foot in length. There's no real rhyme or reason. I got some spots that an 8-footer works perfect and some that a 10 does. So I like to stay in that 8 to 10 foot range though. I don't like any shorter. And then on the bottom, you got a washer just to stop that drowner lock. I do those anywhere from about 8 to 18 inches really from the bottom. It's no rocket science, guys. It isn't an exact thing by any means. It's just gotta stop that trap from slipping off. And you can use anything to put here too. You can use another piece of rebar or some flat steel or anything just to keep that lock from going all the way down. And then on the top here, I got another washer. And that's where I'm running my stake through on this top washer, which I run several different kinds of stakes. Well, 2 actually, mainly, that I'll show you guys here in a bit on the 2 different stakes I used and why. But then we get to the trap here. And this here's the TS85 for those of you that don't know. Hands down best beaver trap in my opinion, as far as footholds go, which is what works best for here in Iowa, running footholds. But I run my TS85s on a Hags lock there. Really like their locks. I've only ever had one really bend on me, and the beaver was still alive when I got there. So it didn't go down the drowning rod like it was supposed to. That was the only reason why that lock kind of malfunctioned on me there. But yeah, and then I take a J hook and I crimp it onto that Hags lock there, and they stay like this. And I'll kind of show you guys what I'm running as far as my pan and my pan tension and everything. I'll get this trap set here so you guys can see that I'm running a pretty flat pan. I had to check before I made this video and make sure that this pan was good, because I got some after season they get they get put through it all, and some of them need adjusted again. But this is how I run them. Pretty flat pan there, if you guys can see that. Some are angled up just a little bit, but and then I run a lot of pan tension. I run about 4 to 5 pounds. Some of them are a little bit more, but you guys can see I'm pushing on that pretty hard and it's not going off. So it takes quite a bit of weight, but for a big beaver it doesn't really matter that much. They're gonna set that trap off every time. So I'll put this back down here for now, and then we can kind of go through the stakes that I use. So you guys have seen me run both of these. This is a 24 inch long rebar stake, 1/2 inch rebar with a washer on top. I got a lot of these. That's mainly why I use them. And if you're in good clay, guys, this is all you really need. But I got some spots where I'll use the 30-inch T-bar. I don't have that many of them just because I haven't made more of them yet. But some of those sandier spots especially, you could even use a 36 or up to a 40-inch stake and be just fine. So that's why I got the long T-bars too, guys. I like the T-bars. They're a lot easier to get out because you can get your hand underneath them a little bit better, but I just don't have that many of them yet. So now we'll get into kind of how I stack them, not only in my truck, but in the shop too when I'm done with them. So I'll grab the camera here quick, and you guys can see I got 2 piles of them here, and you can see how I have a pile of rods and then all the traps are stacked up on the side. And what I'll do is I'll take all these traps. Normally I'll grab them 2 at a time. If I can get this one not get caught there. I'll grab them 2 at a time, and I'll lay all the traps on the side, and then I pull the rod over and lay the rod down. That way when I go to take a rod out of my truck, I can get it, it's ready to go. So that's how I do it. I used to pull the traps off and then crimp them back on just to make it less of a mess in my truck, but this is the best way that I've found to really do it. There's no taking J-hooks off and crimping them back on and all that stuff. And of course, I got my tag there on the chain link too. So yeah, guys, just figured I'd give you a short little video here. Hopefully this can fill in some of your guys' questions on just how I'm really running my rods. Like I said, the 8 to 10 foot doesn't really matter. It can be anywhere in between. It's not rocket science by any means. I have anything from 8 to 10 foot really. A lot of this rebar that I have is scrap, and I just used what I got and it works out great. So, and just another quick thing to add to you guys too. I know a lot of people ask what I'm using, and I said 1/2 inch rebar, but I won't use anything other than 1/2 inch rebar. The fiberglass, although they're nice and light, I know a handful of people now that have had beaver actually chew through them, and the beaver have gotten away. With a $30 TS85 basically, I want to prevent that as much as I can, and there's no beaver that's going to bite through 1/2 inch rebar. And if they do, they can probably have the trap, because that's a tough beaver. And I won't use 3/8 rebar for the rod or for the stake. I've had beaver bend a 1/2 inch rod pretty good before, and I'd hate to see what they do to a 3/8. I think a big one would just tear it to pieces and bend it all over the place. But the big thing with the bending too, those fiberglass rods can really wobble, and the beaver can almost work it out of the bottom. It's going to cause you to have more live beaver, which I'm running drowners. I don't want live beaver because I'm not checking them every day. So I tried to come up with the most efficient way I could to have the highest possibility of that beaver going down the rod and drowning as fastly and effectively as possible, really. And yeah, I won't use 3/8 for the top either. I've had several beaver you guys have seen, they'll get that 1/2 inch stake out, so I can't imagine that a 3/8 stake would work any better. But yeah, I stick with 1/2 inch rebar for everything I use. It's tough and it hasn't failed me yet, so I'm definitely not going to anything smaller. Definitely not going to fiberglass either, because for one, fiberglass is more expensive, and for two, like I said, they can work that fiberglass out of there because it flexes so much, and I know guys that have had beaver chew through them. So that's just my tidbit on why I use rebar. And yeah guys, anyways, until next time, thanks for watching.